wind howls across the endless expanse of the frozen steppe, a sound that has torn through this landscape for millennia. It is a world of blinding white and piercing blue, where the sun hangs low and pale in the sky, offering little warmth to the creatures that wander below. The air is sharp enough to freeze breath in the throat, and the ground is hard as iron, buried deep beneath layers of ancient snow and permafrost. In this unforgiving desolation, silence is the norm, broken only by the cracking of ice and the distant groan of glaciers carving their way through the mountains. Here, life does not thrive easily. It endures with a stubborn, brutal persistence. A massive shape moves through the swirling snow, a dark mountain of fur and muscle against the stark whiteness. It is the tusked giant, a solitary wanderer separated from the safety of the herd. Each step it takes sends a tremor through the frozen earth. Its coat is thick and shaggy, a heavy tapestry of dark brown and rust-colored hair that hangs almost to the ground, matted with ice and the dust of the tundra. Underneath this fortress of fur lies a layer of fat, thick enough to repel the biting cold that would kill a lesser creature in minutes. The giant pauses, its massive head swaying slowly. Two enormous curved tusks, stained ivory and brown, sweep outward and upward like the scythes of a god. They are tools for clearing snow to find the meager dry grass beneath, but they are also weapons capable of shattering bone. The trunk, a marvel of dexterity and strength, uncoils to test the air. It searches for the scent of predators, for the smell of fresh water, or the pheromones of its own kind. But today, the wind brings only the scent of pine needles and something else. Something musky, old, and dangerous. Nearby, the landscape changes. The open steppe gives way to a cluster of jagged rocks and the dark mouth of a cavern, half hidden by a drift of snow. This is the domain of another ruler of this epic. Inside the gloom of the cave, a pair of eyes snaps open. They are small, dark, and filled with an irritable hunger. The cave lord awakes from a fitful torpor. This is no ordinary scavenger. It is a creature of immense bulk, heavier and more muscular than any predator that will walk the earth in the ages to come. The cave lord emerges from the darkness, blinking against the glare of the snow. It is a hulking mass of raw power, with a high, domed forehead and shoulders that ripple with explosive strength. Its fur is shorter than the giant's, coarse and dun-colored, blending with the rocky outcrops. As it stands on its hind legs to survey the valley, it becomes a tower of terror, eclipsing the sun. Its claws are not designed for delicate work. They are thick, curved hooks, meant to dig through the hardest earth and tear through the toughest hide. It is hungry, and the winter has been long. The scent of the tusked giant drifts toward it, thick and inviting. The confrontation begins not with a roar, but with a sudden stillness. The tusked giant senses the shift in the atmosphere. The trunk curls back protectively against the chest. The small ears flap once, nervously, against the neck. It turns, pivoting its massive weight with surprising grace, to face the rocky outcrop. There, standing on the ridge like a gargoyle of the ancient world, is the cave lord. For a moment, time seems to suspend. Two monarchs of the Ice Age lock eyes across the snowy divide. The tusked giant rumbles, a low-frequency sound that is felt in the chest rather than heard, a warning vibration sent through the ground. It does not want this fight. It is a creature of peace when left alone, a grazer, a wanderer. But the cave lord is driven by a different imperative. It sees not a fellow traveler, but a mountain of sustenance that could ensure survival through the rest of the deep freeze. The bear drops to all fours and charges. The speed is shocking for a creature of such bulk. It moves like a landslide, tearing up clods of frozen earth and snow. The distance closes rapidly. The tusked giant reacts instantly. It lowers its head, presenting the terrifying points of its tusks to the oncoming threat. It trumpets, a shrill, piercing scream that shatters the silence of the valley, sending birds scattering from the distant pine trees. They collide with the force of two tectonic plates. The sound is a dull, sickening thud of meat and bone. The cave lord slams into the shoulder of the giant, its claws raking through the thick mat of hair, searching for purchase, searching for the flesh beneath. The tusked giant staggers sideways, the sheer weight of the predator nearly knocking it off balance. But the giant is sturdy, built to withstand the crushing storms of the north. It plants its pillar-like legs and swings its head violently to the side. One of the great tusks catches the cave lord in the flank. The impact lifts the bear from the ground, tossing it backward into the snow. The bear roars, a sound of frustration and pain that echoes off the cliff walls. It scrambles to its feet, pink froth forming at the corner of its mouth. The pain does not deter it. It only fuels the ancient rage. The bear circles, looking for a weakness, looking for the soft underbelly or the vulnerable trunk. The tusked giant keeps its head low, rotating to keep the weapons facing the enemy. Its breath comes in great white clouds of steam. It knows that if the predator gets past the tusks, if it manages to climb onto the back or latch onto the neck, the end will be swift and agonizing. The giant stamps the ground, shaking the snow from its coat, trying to look as large as possible. The cave lord lunges again, this time feinting to the left before springing to the right. It is a calculated move, born of a lifetime of hunting. It manages to slip past the sweep of the left tusk and rises up on its hind legs, towering over the giant's head. With a savage downward swipe, it strikes the giant's face. The claws leave deep furrows, not deep enough to be fatal, but painful enough to blind the giant with blood and panic. Blind instinct takes over. The tusked giant drives forward, no longer trying to defend, but to crush. It uses its skull like a battering ram. The bear, caught mid-strike, cannot dodge. The massive forehead of the herbivore slams into the chest of the carnivore. The air leaves the bear's lungs in a guttural gasp. The momentum carries them both backward. The bear loses its footing on the slick ice. Seizing the advantage, the tusked giant presses the attack. It drives the bear into the snow, pinning the predator with its tusks. The bear swipes frantically, its claws tearing at the giant's ears and trunk. But the leverage is lost. The giant presses down, thousands of pounds of pressure focused on the fallen predator. The snow beneath them turns crimson, a stark contrast to the pristine white world around them. The struggle is desperate and chaotic. Limbs flail, snow flies, and the air is filled with the primal sounds of grunts, roars, and heavy breathing. The cave lord realizes the tide has turned. This is prey that fights back with the weight of a glacier. Survival instinct overrides hunger. With a burst of adrenaline, the bear manages to twist its body and kick out with its powerful hind legs, striking the giant's sensitive trunk. The giant recoils in pain, lifting its head for a split second. It is enough. The cave lord rolls away, scrambling on the ice, retreating toward the safety of the rocks. It is battered, bruised, and bleeding, its pride wounded as deeply as its flesh. It casts one last look back at the mountain of fur that refused to fall. The tusked giant does not pursue. It is not a killer by nature. It is a survivor. It stands its ground, heaving, the steam rising from its body like smoke from a dying fire. The blood on its face freezes quickly in the bitter wind. It watches until the dark shape of the bear disappears into the shadows of the cave. Slowly, the adrenaline fades, replaced by the dull ache of the wounds and the biting cold. The giant turns back to the open steppe. The herd is somewhere ahead, calling in the low frequencies that only they can hear. The tusked giant takes a step, then another, leaving a trail of red drops in the snow that will soon be covered by the drifting powder. The wind picks up again, erasing the signs of the struggle. The valley returns to its silence. The sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of violet and bruised orange. In this harsh and beautiful world, The battle is just another moment in the endless cycle. The strong survive, the weak perish, and the ice keeps the secrets of them all. The tusked giant walks on, a lonely silhouette against the dying light, a king of the cold marching toward tomorrow.